Hey, this is going to be a Theotek Extra all about the iPhone X or 10 or whatever you want to call it. And there it is.
Here
Woo!
it is. Here it is in a
And
red
Nick,
case.
tell us what you did early this morning and how you
Well,
got a hold of that thing.
here's if anyone follows us so closely that they're watching this after watching our previous podcast last night, they'll actually see I'm wearing the same shirt underneath this vest here because I didn't even shower this morning. I got up at 4 a.m.
That's what that
left.
smell is.
Yes, that's exactly what that is. And you know, you don't want to see my hair. And I left the house to go get in line at the Apple store in Louisville. I live over in the next county. But you know, I had one on order. It's not that I'm impatient, but I had one on order, and it wasn't going to arrive until the 16th. Well, I'm going to be going to ETS and SBL, and then I'm going to Louisiana after that, and I'm going to anyway, it'll be a while before I get back. And so, and because I'm in the Apple upgrade program, I was supposed to send my previous iPhone 7 Plus back in. Well, you know, it was all going to just sit here, or at least the new phone was going to sit here. So anyway, um, so I got up this morning on the off chance that I would be able to get one, and there were I think exactly 29 or 30 people in front of me already at the door when I got there at 5 a.m. Now, what was really interesting, this is Oxmoor Mall in Louisville. In the past, they've let people start lining up at midnight or 12:30 or something like that. And they told people last night, because I was talking to people who were in line, they told people, no, you can't be on the property after closing. You cannot line up until 5 a.m. Now, I think they had a rush because, like I said, I got up there about 4:40 or so, and there were already 30 people in line in front of me, and I didn't know all that then. And then, you know, I look on the dark sky app on my iPhone, and I saw that rain was coming, like heavy rain. And so the guy behind me, I said, will you save my spot if I go back out to my truck to get an umbrella? Because you never know how people are going to be. And he said, oh, yeah, that's fine. So I went out and got my umbrella, and it was a good thing a monsoon came. And they weren't going to let us in the mall until 6, but they felt sorry for us, or maybe they thought it was a liability or something, so they let us in the mall at about 5:15 or so. But I mean, it really was raining hard, and so we got into the mall, had to line up, you know, just in that first hallway, and then at 6 o'clock, is that right? Yeah, at 6 o'clock, they let us get in. They started letting us line up outside of the Apple store in the wing that it's in. And it was very orderly. You know, I've been in these kinds of things where people line up at the door, and as soon as they open the doors, everyone rushes. And so it doesn't matter what order you were in line, because the fastest people get there first. This was all very orderly. This was not a PlayStation line, you know, where people get shot. This was an iPhone line. And as I said on Slack a while ago, I'm never good at guessing these kinds of things, but I know I counted 30 to me, and then based on the people that were behind me and kind of looping around, there were at least over 200 people in line, I would guess. And you know, and I think I said this on Slack too. You know, if you remember those commercials from Samsung where they were kind of dissing the iPhone, saying, you know, this is your parents' phone or something like this. I was one of the oldest persons in the line. This was a majority millennial crowd that was in line to get the new iPhone 10. And it was fun. People were nice. People were friendly. They came through at about 7 a.m. and they started taking our reservations. They basically were asking us, you know, which carrier are you on? What color do you want? Do you want 64, 256 gigabytes? And then they were recording it. I got an actual notice as a text that I had this phone reserved. So once they had done that, I was guaranteed the phone. And so I know they only went back so far, and I think the official thing was that they can only reserve X number at a time, and then everyone's still in line. But I'm thinking, but there was a guy in front of me who he used to work at the Apple store, and so he knew everyone there who was working there, and they were telling him stuff, and so we were getting kind of some inside info. And I do know at a certain point they had run out, with the exception of Sprint and T-Mobile, but the AT&T and Verizon had run out, but they had not. But I've been in lines. I haven't been in an Apple line in 2 or 3 years, but I've been in the lines before where they'd run out, and they'd tell us. They'd say, we're not going to have any more today. You might as well just go home. And people cry. But they weren't telling people to go home. And and it's interesting that this guy in front of me, he told me that originally he was told last night that there were only going to be like 5 or 6 AT&Ts that were 256. There was much more than that, and they weren't telling these people to go home because at the rate that the line was moving, they were expecting another shipment in today. So all these rumors about supply being really constrained, I'm not so sure it's as constrained as what they thought it was going to be, or they were able to ramp up production in the last couple of weeks, which is probably the case. But I didn't know going up there. I didn't know if I'd be able to get one or not. But not only did I get one, I think just about everyone who was in line today probably is going to get one.
So you got it, and you opened it up and got it all set up. Do you have it going and pretty much ready?
Well, yes and no. Here's it just unlocked. It just unlocked with me just looking at it there. Yes and no.
Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that while you're telling us. Just show us.
Okay.
Have it
Well, so what you do, I'm looking at it, and I don't know how well you're going to see, but this little lock up at the top locks up, and then it's another step process to do that. Now, the reason that you do that is so that like when you get your notifications, and and I like that. That's usually what I do in the morning. Before I open the phone on my previous one, I like to look at emails or text or whatever that came in. But if it were just to automatically unlock when you look at it, you would miss all those notifications. So it's kind of a notification view, and then you slide up, and there's no home button. And so if you're in an app. If you're in an app, I just grabbed iBooks randomly there. If you're in an app, you have to you slide up to go back to. Look here's Accordance, and so what you can do is see if I can do this to there's the card view. You kind of pull it up and you kind of hold it for a second and then pull it down. And then you've got any apps that are open, and you can slide through those. But this is an aggravation of mine, which is going to affect very few people, is that I was running the iOS 11.2 beta that came out earlier this week, and so I had backed up. I backed up last night before I went to bed, and then I backed up standing in the line at 7 something, and then right before I went in the store, because I'd been texting and I'd been sending stuff to you guys on Slack, I went ahead and backed up a third time. Well, my backup is 11.2. Okay, so now this has happened to me before. This has happened to me before that I'd be running a beta. So what you have to do is, rather than it won't let you install a backup if the backup is newer than what's on here. So I think with my last phone, or maybe the previous one before that, I had to you go ahead and log in with your Apple ID, but you don't download that backup yet. You first install the beta, and then you reset it, and then you do it. And that's okay. Here's the problem though. I can't update this phone at the moment beyond 11.1. And my backup is an 11.2 beta, and I've already been on the developer forums. In fact, I just got an email. Because I'm in some of the discussion post on there. I mean, it is confirmed that the iPhone 10 does not run beta 1 of 11.2.
Oh.
And so in a few days, probably that's going to cut. So I don't know what to do. I don't know whether or not I'm going to. I always say it'd be nice to just start from scratch, and then you don't have all those apps that you never use and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, email accounts and, just there's so much that you have on here. It'd be so nice to just drop everything back on there. So
yeah, it takes like a day or two almost for me to get.
Yeah.
I do that because about once a year I will do that.
So that's an aggravation. To me, that sounds like some department in Apple didn't talk with the other department, and it's really aggravating. But that's going to affect a very small number of people.
So let me ask you the question about that the opening mechanism. Go ahead and if you can, I know it's a little awkward, but go ahead and turn it off, and then unlock it with us seeing the phone. Like if you can do it sideways or so. I just kind of want to see how it is.
I got to press the button. So there it is. I mean, it did it. It's quick. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know how good of a demo that was, but I'll tell you what is amazing.
No, that was good. I mean, I could see it was quick. It was simple. It wasn't really difficult. So
Let me try. Let me try it again. Okay, so whoops, I didn't even have to press the button. Okay, so yeah, it just did it. Um,
so
it's
without
very
even pressing the button, it's
yeah.
in your face and offering to unlock it.
It's very fast. When I think it was, we were discussing some of those articles yesterday. I don't know if it was Jim Dalrymple or someone said that one of the people writing about Face ID said that it was faster than Touch ID, and I'm thinking, oh, right. No, it really is,
Okay.
because I had to send out a couple of things for accordance this morning on Twitter and Facebook. We were having a couple of issues with the website, and so I needed to send out some notices real quick. And I'd gotten a phone call, and I was stupid. I didn't bring an iPad with me or my laptop or anything. I just had the phone, so I had to go into Twitter.com because I didn't have the apps downloaded. I had to go into Facebook.com, and when it just, like some of these websites, I don't know if it did it with Facebook. I think Facebook you have to do a code, but with Twitter, I mean, it just like it read my face and it put the password in there and it was open.
So
So
it's
I mean,
immediate.
it was like a little Jedi thing. I just
It'll
looked
be
at it and it
interesting to
happened.
see when people start trying to trick it, how secure it really is. I
Yeah.
understand that, they claim it's going to be, but I'm sure lots of people are going to try to mess with it. And so
Yeah,
it'll be
people
fun
are
to
already
see whether
trying to do
someone
things
can.
with twins but I don't have a twin, so I'm not
You
worried
don't,
about that.
you don't
No,
have a doppelganger
not
from
not not to
alternate
my knowledge.
universe that you could quickly bring through a wormhole of some kind?
No, I can't do that. So, or maybe that's a new feature I haven't discovered yet.
Maybe it'll come in version 12.
Yeah, beta 3. Yeah. So, but yeah, I was actually impressed, and I wasn't even looking for it to be this way. But the Face ID to unlock passwords and stuff really is faster than Touch ID, because with Touch ID, I'd get there and I'd have to put my thumb on it. Motion, it just unlocks whatever it's supposed to unlock.
Okay. Now
So,
you did the swiping feature to go back to the home screen. It looked a little awkward, but I think it was because you were pointing it away from us and away
yeah,
from your face and trying to do it. When you're just using it normal, how easy it is.
it's pretty easy. Now, I don't like it as much and it may be because I'm not used to it. Would you like to use Face ID for purchases? Oh, why not? Um, it, um, I'm not
Like a
used to.
Tesla, yes.
Yes, I'm not used to that yet. I'm used to from 2007. We're used to pressing on a home button to go
Yeah.
home, and so here you do this other, and well, I don't know. I guess you could do it with one hand. I don't know how well. Let me try this again. If showing it to the
Yeah, it's
screen
hard.
there is hard to do, but the idea would be that, let me just take my word for it here, and I'll tell you. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it with one hand. But
Is
you're
it from
used
the
to
very
just
is it from the very bottom of the screen or just like anywhere towards the bottom up? It
yeah,
works.
like if you're in an app, if you're in an app, there's this little bar at the bottom. Can you see that little
Yeah.
white bar? That's okay. So and it's interesting, that may be something that eventually goes away. But right now it's an indicator that, hey, this is where you grab this and you swipe up.
That looks pretty simple. That's
Yeah,
honestly been my biggest concern, and my number one thought was, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this without the Touch ID and the home button. That's gonna be crazy, and at least something, even if it's just a software home button. That's what I've been worried about. But that looks pretty easy.
yeah. Yeah, it is, and like I said, I'm not used to it. I'm used to doing this, but it's working. It's working just fine. I haven't done anything with the camera yet or anything like that.
So now you've got it in a case. How's the look and feel, when it's bare?
Yeah, well, and that's the interesting thing here. I'm going to take it out of this case. It's heavier than what I thought it was going to be. Well, in two factors. Number one, it's heavier than what I thought it was going to be, and maybe that's all glass. Maybe that's, and it's, what is it? All glass and stainless steel.
Hmm.
I think maybe that's what adds the weight. But and I don't have my old one. Let me try my old one. But it feels heavier than the other. But the other thing is that it's small. I know that this screen is supposed to be larger, than the 7 Plus and the 6 Plus and so forth. But I'm telling you, the phone is so small, I feel like I've got a small baby phone in my hands. It's like holding the 8, not the 8 Plus, or the 7, not the 7 Plus.
That was my reaction. It's a similar dimension to the Note phone, the two most recent Note phones, and that was the same feeling I had in holding it. You're like, whoa, this is not bigger than the S8. But it is bigger. What's going on here? But it's deceptively large, but feels a lot smaller than.
So I think that the Plus 6, 7, and 8 is 5.5 inches. Is that correct? And then this is 5.8. It's a little bit more narrow. I do have my old case here.
Yeah, it's a strange form factor.
I don't know. Here is the. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but. Here's the phone against that case. So it's not as wide, and it's certainly not as tall, which is very interesting. Honestly, now I'm probably in a minority. I would like to have edge to edge this size, the size of the 7 or 8 Plus. Gosh, I would take a 7-inch.
Increase the screen, keep the body size the same.
Yeah, I'd be glad
I would
to
agree
have
with that.
But this does feel a little bit easier in the hand. You know how hard it has been with the Plus phones to do one-handed texting. I think I could probably do it with this one.
Do you get any weird touches with holding it on the edge without the case on it?
No, and I have to think that there's probably some sensitivity involved there. So some desensitivity. They probably assume, okay, when he's got both hands on the side here and he's touching, he probably is not meaning to do anything.
Yeah,
that's my guess. But I haven't done anything yet that would be weird. Maybe that would. The other interesting thing, I can't remember what app I was in, but I noticed that over here on the this is in Safari. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but
just
you see
big white.
Yeah, the horns that are up there. I was in some app earlier, and like you have the clock over on the left, and then there was something underneath it, and I thought, now that's interesting that they would have 2 lines of content there, but I cannot remember where that was.
How many apps are taking? I mean, I know you don't have a lot of them installed yet, but how many are taking advantage of the 2 little horns or whatever you call them? Are they supposed to be able to put content up there that's
except for like the very, very top? And so I'll just let me find something that's black. Okay, well here's the stock app that everyone uses so much. I don't know how well you can see it, but it goes all the way up to the top of that. Kind of what it would be just on a regular iPhone to make use of that space. But for instance, the Accordance app, at least when I last checked this morning, has not been updated for it yet. And so you technically have letterboxing there. However, it doesn't look unusual really the way it's done, because it's the same size screen that you've had previously, but then kind of above there's like black space, and then above that black space then you have the indicators there in the
clock and the battery, Wi-Fi thing, and
but now what's interesting, what I'm not seeing here is the Bluetooth indicator. I'm not seeing any kind of Bluetooth indicator up there, but I don't know. The other interesting thing here is that when it's on, if you swipe down from like the Wi-Fi indicators and everything, that takes you into the control center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So it used to be, for example, if on my, I've got the old one, so you bring that up by, from the bottom, but you can't do that now because that's the other.
Right.
That's
and then if you swipe down from the clock.
What about the widgets?
Well, that's right here. So if you swipe down from the clock, you get your notifications. And
do that again.
That's the
I
camera.
had to click so it was showing my screen.
To go to the camera. Whoops. I'm hitting things. Allow camera to access. Yes. Okay. So let's try this again. I swipe down. Yeah. So let me do it. Let me see if I can do it as a. You know what I could have actually done is we could have probably used reflector here. But so if I swipe down from the clock, okay, here are my notifications, and then if I swipe over. No, that's the wrong. That's camera. If I swipe over to the right, that gives me my widgets.
Right.
Yeah.
So from one corner, you're doing the control center, and from the other corner, you're getting the notification and widgets.
Right. Now, here's a question. Can you get to the camera from the control center? No, but I don't know that you could to begin with.
Yeah.
I can certainly, if I go down to the notifications, I can go to the camera.
Here's, they've got the camera icon, right?
Well, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, and I can do that. I just meant slide over, but yeah, the camera icon's there. The other new thing that's here is, when it's on the lock screen at the very bottom, you're probably not going to be able to see this. There's a flashlight.
Okay.
Flashlight and a camera from the lock screen.
From the lock screen. That's nice.
Yeah. So
I wish that was. Of course, you can do that, by swiping up and getting the control center from the lock screen before, but it's not as. It'd be nice to have that just as a tap.
Yeah.
Quick. That's something. There's no reason they couldn't do that in the old iPhone on iOS 11. So, any other thoughts? I know you said you didn't really play with the camera much.
No, I haven't looked at the camera at all. In fact, I can click on camera, but I mean, so far it looks the same interface. So I don't know, but I haven't really had a chance to play with it yet. And of course, it's got a vertical orientation instead of horizontal.
What about the overall speed of the phone?
Very fast. I mean, that's what's impressed me with the Face ID, unlocking passwords before I can even think about it. I mean, it's just done very, very fast, very responsive. Of course, again, I don't have a whole lot on here, so that ask me in a week. But I have a feeling it's
in a couple of weeks when we probably do our next regular Theotek show, you'll be able to have a little bit more of a informed opinion after using it. Regularly for 2 weeks. So, well, cool. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for showing it off to us and getting up early so we can see it. I know you didn't do it just for us; you did it for you and your needs, and that sort of thing. But it's interesting. I as you were talking about standing in the line and all of that, I've stood in line 3 times. Once was to get an iPhone, and I didn't get one. I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, and about 5 people in front of me, they came out and said, "Sorry, all gone. You might as well go home. We're not going to have any more today." And that was pretty disappointing. And then the second time was for the iPad 2, the second one, I believe.
Yeah, I was in line for that one, long lines for the iPad 2.
Now, that was at a Best Buy in Hickory because we don't have an Apple store nearby. Okay. And I said, I'm not going to stand in line. I'm not going to drive all the way to Charlotte for this. I'll see if I can get one at Best Buy. And I got one. And then the third time was also for an iPad at the Best Buy in Hickory. And that was the worst experience because there was a guy in front of me who wanted they were doing like you did, reserve it. But the way they reserved it is they handed you the piece of paper, which was printing, and it said, 128 gold or whatever he said.
Yeah, I think I did that one time.
And you lined up outside, and then you went inside and lined up again at their service desk like every Best Buy has their Geek Squad service desk. So then you had to line up a second time inside, which was ridiculous. And he didn't line up because he said, well, I've got it reserved. And he just went shopping around until the line went down. And when he went up to get his, they had given it to somebody else because everybody got in line, got one, and then someone else said, have you got any more? And they took the last one that they had was the one he wanted. And he was piping hot. He was so.
I bet he was too.
He was walking around the store cussing and.
now we could have legitimately done that today. We could have. I could have gone to have breakfast over at Panera or something and come back. Of course, I'd have had to gotten at the end of that very long line, and the line was moving slower than what I've seen in the past. But I mean, we actually had it reserved after about 7:15 a.m.
Right. Now, I forgot about a fourth time. I did stand in line one other time at the Best Buy or the Apple store rather in Charlotte for the iPhone 4S. 4S, I believe.
Yeah,
And or maybe that was the 5. I can't remember, but it's so much nicer to be able to order it. And
I agree, and that's what I've done most recently. I have a feeling that they were able to ramp up production after the initial orders a week ago. That's just my guess, because it feels like they had a lot more than what they thought they were going to have.
Yeah.
So, and I hope that, I mean, at least in Louisville, hopefully that's true. And everywhere, I think the next closest store is in Cincinnati from here, which theirs is a bigger store. So I can only imagine what their crowd is like today.
Yeah. Well, Rick, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to.
And I'll give a follow-up on the next Theotek.
Okay, that'll be good. Well, this has been Theotek Extra with the iPhone 10. We're calling this episode a first look because they already unboxed it. But go to theotek.com and find all our stuff, and we're going to be done. Thanks.